What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at my new project because I need more projects. It's also not a rear engine car. This is my new to me 2005 BMW 545i 6-speed manual V8. Let's take a closer look. If you're looking for it. That's great. All right, so like I said, this is my new-ish project. I bought it middle of winter, I think. I don't even remember. But like I said, it's 2005 BMW 545i. It has a 6-speed manual transmission. It is a N62 V8 under the hood, 330-ish horsepower. So it moves pretty good. It's got 165,000 miles on it now. It had 162 when I bought it. Been driving it daily for a couple months. When I bought it, it was running-ish. So I paid $1,200 for the car. It had been sitting out next to a barn, from what I was told, for a couple years. Somebody had put an engine in it because they blew the original engine up and they could never get it running right, so they pushed it outside. That was where it sat. I bought it from a coworker who bought it from somebody else. Nobody could get it running right, so it's like, it's a project I'll try. So I ended up checking the car over, and up here in the front is where the microfilters sit. And those are what filter the air that goes into the cabin that you breathe. Well, this all stuffed up with leaves at some point in time, plugged the drains, so as it was raining, water was overflowing into the car, so the car had been flooded on the passenger side, which is where a bunch of the modules sit, and some got into the e-box. So the Valvetronic module on this was actually bad, and there were some corroded pins on the DME, so I had to replace a bunch of pins. I had to replace the Valvetronic module. After I did that, I got it running good, but then it had all kinds of different warning lights on. The headlights weren't working right. There were random lights staying on that would kill the battery. So I ended up having to put a light control module in this, a gateway module, adaptive headlight module, body module, active steering module, a DSC sensor that mounts under the carpet as well, the right subwoofer underneath the passenger seat. I had to put a PDC module in this for the park distance control, and I think that's about it. I had a list, I lost it, tried to go back through eBay. Half the stuff's not there anymore. But anyway, I think I had about $1,500 total into fixing this car. That also included me rebuilding the rear suspension. It's got all new arms on the rear suspension, new wheel bearings in the front. I put a new brake caliper on the left front because it was hung up. It has brake lines. It has the braided brake lines from Turner Motorsports. I put those on it. I ended up getting new tires for the factory wheels, belt, upper radiator hose, belt tensioner, did some valve cover gaskets. So yeah, it's been a pretty good car. I've taken it to Chicago a couple times, but I think altogether I have about $3,200 total into it with the purchase, so not bad for what it is. There's absolutely no rust on this car. It's pretty good underneath. Oh, brake lines. I had to put brake lines on it for the rear too. They were rusted. But otherwise, the car is really solid. It's got a few, rock chips. It's really dirty right now too because it's been raining. But it's got some rock chips on the front of the hood. It's got some dings in the passenger door. This one right there. A little paint blemish on the passenger rear door right there, which you probably can't see on the camera. It's got a dent right here above the 545 on the trunk. And some scuffs in the bumper, but like I said, it's a 2005 with 165,000 miles on it. It's not going to be perfect. but it's pretty dang nice. So a little bit ago I put these wheels on it. These are 19-inch wheels off of a E65 7 Series with newer tires. I've always liked the look of these on E60s, so I put them on here. You know, with this car, this also has the sport package on it. So it has sport seats and it has low slung sport suspension. So this is the factory ride height for this car. I know it looks lowered. Believe me, it's not. This is the stock ride height. Well, I guess it is technically lowered from the factory that way. But like I said, you know, it's got the sport seats, nice bolsters. It's got the knee support that goes in and out electronically. And yeah, 6-speed manual. You gotta love that. It's got sport steering wheel. Super fun car to drive, super comfortable. Since I don't have a ton of money into it, I thought I might as well mod it a little bit. So yes, it sits low, but I would like it to be a little bit lower. So I'm thinking, since, you know, budget car, why don't we try out some budget coilovers? So I'm thinking about ordering some cheap coilovers. I had JOM coilovers, which are pretty cheap on my old E39, and they actually didn't ride too bad. I ended up going to K Sports a little bit later, but so I'm thinking about getting something like that for this. Also, I'd like to do an intake and an exhaust, so I'll probably make my own intake for it. I have this muffler and this exhaust tip off of one of my Fiero projects that I might just try to put on it. Yeah, I also put this spoiler on. It was like 80 bucks on eBay. I kind of like how these look. I had this same spoiler on my old 5 Series. I had a 2008 528 all-wheel drive. Complements these cars well. So here's the engine. Like I said, this is the N62 V8. Makes 330 horsepower, something like that. This is completely stock, as you can see. So I'm thinking about doing an intake. Oh, and yes, it burns oil. They all do.
A great success!
So there are some common issues with these engines. They leak oil, and they burn oil, and they can leak coolant. There's a crossover tube behind the timing cover that can go bad. So I'm thinking about pulling this engine out, resealing the valve guide seals because they are bad, it burns oil. There's a gasket behind the alternator bracket that can leak on these. It'll all of a sudden go out and it'll start gushing oil out. Valve cover gaskets, upper timing cover gaskets, oil pan gasket, rear main seal, do the coolant tube I was talking about behind the timing cover. Just completely reseal the whole thing. That's a thought. But yeah, that's my new daily driver for the summer, I guess. So if you guys are into it, let me know. It's a fun car. If you want to see some of the repairs, let me know that too. If I end up pulling the engine out, or you can use the tool and you can do the valve seals in the car, and they make an expanding tube, coolant tube, crossover tube that goes behind the timing cover that you don't have to take half the engine apart to do. If you guys want to see that stuff done, let me know, and maybe we can make future videos of that stuff. But the next video may be me building an exhaust for this car, because, you know, 3 Series I put the high dollar exhaust on. So let's do a low dollar one on the low dollar car. So I'm gonna end this off here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one. So why didn't you guys let me know you wanted to go for a ride? Oh, still got a check engine light on. We have a secondary air fault that stores. I think the valves are bad. But I gotta pull the intake to do those, and I just haven't done it yet. So that's why the check engine light's on. Actually kind of getting used to it. But let's take it for a rip. Well, we're just in time too, because it looks like it's about to rain. The steering on this car feels really good. I like the active steering because it is super easy in the parking lot. I mean, you're not even in one full rotation of the steering wheel to go lock to lock. But then when you're on the road, it feels nice and stiff like it's supposed to, real responsive, real crisp. This car also has dynamic drive, so it has the hydraulic sway bars. And this thing is probably one of the best handling BMWs I've ever had. I think this car handles better than my E39 M5 did. Believe it or not. Well, that's that's 70 miles an hour there. But you can see, I mean, it's nice and quiet inside the cabin here. Not a ton of road noise. Not a ton of engine noise. Sounds good, drives good, handles good. That's, I think, why it needs an exhaust. Just because it's too quiet. We're going 55 right now. Down country road. It's quiet. No real rattles, a little bit of rattle from the seat, which I'm sure picks up like crazy on that GoPro. No real wind noise to speak of. Just a nice cruiser, but it's got plenty of horsepower and it's got the right suspension on it. So if you want to take some corners, you can take some corners in this car. Maybe you'll have to do some track days with it. See, this is what happens. I buy something like this and I'm like, just drive it a little bit and I'll sell it. Well, then I fall in love. And I really miss my E39 M5, and this is as close as I'm probably ever going to get to that. So, I don't know, probably going to end up with this car for a long time. And you can make fun of me when I sell it in 6 months because I changed my mind.